Before we start the show, don't forget to check our new ebook, Kill All Bugs, Learn Software Testing in One Day. For a limited time, it's only $9.99. Links in description.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're trying to map out the world of building websites.
Yeah, it can feel pretty complicated.
Definitely. If you're gearing up for a project, or maybe you're just curious how it all works, you probably hit that wall of acronyms fast. HTML, CMS, MVC. It feels like you're just drowning in terms trying to figure out what actually matters.
It really can. And, you know, the gap between coding something totally custom from the ground up versus, say, clicking around in WordPress, it's huge.
Right.
So our goal today, our mission, is to cut through that noise. We want to give you real clarity on the essential languages, how things are structured, and those big trade-offs you face when building a site. All based on the research we've gathered.
Okay, let's do it. Starting small, like the absolute basics, languages involved. Our notes split them into two big camps, front-end and back-end.
Yeah.
Front-end is what we see, what we click on in the browser. So what are those like three core technologies always running right there on our own computers?
Okay, so people often call it the holy trinity of the web. First up, you've got HTML, hypertext markup language.
Okay.
Think of this purely as the structure, the bones of the page. It organizes everything using things called tags. Like there's a tag specifically to tell the browser, put this text in the little tab at the top. That's the title tag.
So HTML is the framework, but if I just look at raw HTML, it's not pretty, right? Just black text on a white background, basically?
Exactly. It's functional, not aesthetic. That's where the second piece comes in. CSS, cascading style sheets.
Right, for the style.
Purely for style. CSS defines the colors, the font sizes, how things are laid out on the screen. And the really neat thing, efficiency.
How so?
You can write your styles once in a single CSS file and then apply those rules to like hundreds of different elements all across your site.
So you don't have to repeat yourself constantly.
Precisely. It separates the what it is, HTML, from the how it looks, CSS, really cleanly.
Okay, structure and style. But websites do things. What makes them interactive?
That's the third part of the trinity. JavaScript, often just called JS.
Gotcha.
JavaScript adds the action, the interactivity if you need a pop-up window when someone clicks an image or you want that little message saying, thanks for signing up, after someone fills out a form.
That's JS doing the work.
That's JS. So structure, style, action, all happening right there in the user's browser.
Okay, that covers what I see and interact with. But lots of stuff happens behind the scenes, right, on some server somewhere. That's the back end.
Exactly. The backend code runs on the web server, the machine hosting the website, not on your local computer.
And why is that necessary?
Well, it's crucial for anything needing security or heavy processing. Think about handling credit card details, logging users in securely, sending confirmation emails, that kind of thing.
Right, you wouldn't want that happening in the browser where someone could potentially mess with it.
Definitely not. And there are options here too. You can use JavaScript on the server with something called Node.js. Python's very popular, Ruby too. But our sources highlighted PHP hypertext preprocessor as still being a real workhorse. Super common for these server-side tasks.
So if I'm signing up for an account or maybe asking for a big data report on a website, PHP or something similar is working away on that remote server, figuring things out, talking to databases maybe, and then it sends the final result back to my browser for HTML, CSS, and JS to make it look right.
You got it. It handles the complexity and keeps sensitive stuff safe on the server side.
Okay, languages make sense.
Yeah.
Now let's dig into that core structure language, HTML, a bit more. You mentioned it's like a Word document.
Yeah, that's a great analogy from the research. An HTML file is really just a simple text file ending in .html usually.
Or sometimes inside other files like .php.
Right, it can be embedded, but fundamentally it's text. And the web browser, like Chrome or Firefox, acts like a translator. It fetches that text file.
When I type in the web address.
Exactly. It reads through the text, finds all the structural tags we talked about, and then renders them, translates them into the visual web page you actually see. It also runs any JavaScript included.
So if I ever do that view page source thing in my browser,
Yep.
I'm basically seeing the raw script the browser's about to perform.
That's precisely what you're looking at. And within that script, there are two really key sections you need to understand: the head and the body.
Head and body. What's the difference? What's the practical takeaway?
Okay, think of it this way. The head is mostly for the machines. It holds information that's useful for the browser itself and, really importantly, for search engines like Google.
Oh,
This is where you put things called metadata extra info about the page content that helps search bots understand and index your site correctly. You also put links in the head to those external CSS style sheets and JavaScript files we mentioned.
so stuff the user doesn't directly see, but makes the page work right and get found.
Pretty much. The body, on the other hand, is everything for the user. All the visible stuff, the paragraphs of text, the images, the links you click, tables, lists, all of it.
Got it. So if I want better search rankings, I need to pay attention to the head. If I want users to have a good experience on the page, I focus on the body.
That nails the core difference. And when we're building that body content, we use those keywords, the elements like div for a section or img for an image.
Right.
But the really crucial concept for customizing them is the attribute.
Attributes. Why are they so important?
Attributes give you extra properties or information about a specific element. For instance, you can give an element an id attribute, which is like giving it a unique name on the page.
Like a label.
Exactly. And that unique name is gold for CSS and JavaScript. CSS uses that id to apply styles only to that one specific element. JavaScript uses it to attach interactive functions just to that element. Attributes are how you target things.
Okay, makes sense. Structure sorted. Let's talk about making it look good now in part 3. CSS time.
Right, CSS, the artist. Its main job is the visual appeal. And its real power lies in how precisely it can target HTML elements using things called selectors.
Selectors.
Okay,
Okay, the notes list 5 categories, but maybe we can simplify that. Group them by what they do.
good idea. I think we can boil it down to maybe 3 core functions of selectors. Easier to remember.
Great. What's the first type?
First, you've got your simple selectors. These are the bread and butter. They target elements based on things like that id attribute we just talked about, the unique name, or a class attribute, which is like putting elements into a group.
So target one specific thing or target a whole bunch of related things.
Exactly. Second, you have what we could call positional selectors. The technical term is combinators, but positional makes more sense.
Okay.
These let you select elements based on where they are in relation to other elements. Like, you could say, select only the paragraph elements that are directly inside a specific div container.
So you can be really specific about context without having to add extra IDs or classes everywhere in the HTML.
Precisely. Keeps your HTML cleaner. And the third main function,
What's the third group?
let's call them state selectors. Technically, these are pseudo-classes and pseudo-elements. They select elements based on their current state or a specific part of them.
State. Like
What state?
the classic example is the hover state on a link. You know when you move your mouse over a link and it changes color?
Yeah.
That styling is applied using a pseudo-class selector that only activates when the mouse is hovering. Or you could select just the very first letter of a paragraph to make it bigger using a pseudo-element. It adds dynamic styling based on user interaction or specific parts. That's pretty powerful. Seems like you can get incredibly detailed.
You really can.
And speaking of styling efficiently, the notes mention Bootstrap. That's a CSS framework,
Yeah.
right? And something about a CDN.
Right. So Bootstrap is basically a huge pre-built library of CSS styles and components, buttons, grids, navigation bars, tons of stuff ready to go. It saves a lot of time.
And the CDN part, Content Delivery Network.
Yeah. Instead of hosting that potentially large Bootstrap CSS file on your own server, you often link to it via a CDN. Think of a CDN as a network of servers spread all over the world
Okay.
that all have a copy of that Bootstrap file. So when someone visits your site, say from London, their browser grabs the Bootstrap file from a nearby CDN server, maybe also in London or Europe.
Instead of having to fetch it all the way from your main server, maybe in the US.
Exactly. It makes the site load much faster for users everywhere. It's all about performance.
That's a really key point for user experience. Okay, so tools like Bootstrap kind of give you a head start, even if you're coding. Which leads us nicely into the big question, the great debate in part 4. Do you build from scratch, maybe using tools like Bootstrap, or go all in on a pre-built system, a content management system, like WordPress?
Ah, yes, the fundamental choice. This is where the trade-offs get really interesting. Let's look at what the research says, comparing the two paths across different factors.
Okay, let's start with the obvious wins for a CMS. The notes highlight time and skills.
Absolutely. With a CMS like WordPress or Joomla, you can get a basic website up and running incredibly fast. The source material even suggests maybe less than 24 hours.
Wow.
And the skill level needed is much lower. If you're comfortable using a computer, maybe basic word processing, you can probably manage a CMS coding from scratch. That takes serious time, and you generally need an experienced and often expensive programmer.
Big difference there. But, okay, let's flip the coin. What about speed and, crucially, security? This is where it seems the convenience of a CMS might have hidden costs.
That's often the case. Speed is usually the first thing you sacrifice a bit. A site built from scratch tends to be faster because the developer includes only the code and features that are absolutely necessary.
Lean and mean.
Right. A CMS is designed to be a one-size-fits-all solution, so often loads features and code you might not even be using, which can slow things down. But security, yeah, that's the really big one.
The sources seem pretty clear that because CMS platforms like WordPress are so widespread, hackers actively look for weaknesses in their code.
They do. It's a much bigger target. Now, you raised a good point earlier. Isn't a custom-coded site security dependent on the skill of that one programmer?
Yeah, I mean, if they make a mistake, isn't it just a unique vulnerability instead of a common one?
That's a fair point. A custom site is only as secure as its code. However, because that code is unique, automated hacking tools or bots that scan for known WordPress vulnerabilities won't find anything to exploit easily.
Yeah, okay. It's obscurity to some extent.
Partly. With a CMS, if a hacker finds one vulnerability in a specific version of, say, WordPress or a popular plugin,
They can potentially use that same trick to attack millions of websites running that same software.
exactly, which puts a very different spin on maintenance.
So?
With a custom-built site, you typically only need updates when you want to add new features or if a specific library it uses has a known issue. With the CMS, the maintenance is relentless. You have to keep applying those security patches and updates regularly to close the holes that hackers are actively exploiting.
So that initial ease and speed of setup comes with this ongoing time commitment, this security tax, almost.
That's a good way to put it. It's a significant ongoing responsibility.
Okay, one more comparison point. SEO, search engine optimization.
Right. This is an area where CMS platforms often have an edge right out of the box. Many come with built-in SEO tools, and it's usually very easy to add more advanced SEO features using plugins.
Whereas with Scratch development,
The programmer has to consciously build in SEO considerations, or you might need to bring in an SEO specialist. It's extra work, and frankly, not all developers are SEO experts.
okay, so the trade-off is pretty clear then.
Uh-huh.
CMS, faster start, easier for non-techies, often better initial SEO tools, but you inherit this constant burden of security updates and potential speed issues. Scratch. Much higher initial cost in time and skill, but potentially better performance, better security through uniqueness, and less forced maintenance, though SEO needs specific attention.
That sums it up really well. And even when you do choose the Scratch path, developers don't just start with a blank text file anymore. They use tools to speed things up too.
Which brings us to part 5.
Right. If you're coding from scratch, you need efficient tools. We're talking text editors or IDEs.
Yeah, definitely not just Notepad. You use specialized code editors. Things like Visual Studio Code, which is free and runs everywhere, are incredibly popular, or Sublime Text. Or you might use a full IDE integrated development environment like NetBeans.
What's the difference between an editor and an IDE?
An IDE usually bundles more tools together. So besides just editing the code, it might have built-in debugging tools, better project management features, integration with version control like Git. It's a more complete development suite.
Got it. But the real speed boost when building from scratch, especially for the back-end logic, comes from using frameworks, right?
Oh, absolutely. Nobody builds a complex web application backend entirely from zero these days.
Right.
It's just not efficient or secure. Use a framework. The dominant pattern here is the MVC framework, Model View Controller, MVC. Like Laravel or Symfony, mentioned in the notes.
Exactly. Those are two very popular PHP MVC frameworks. The beauty of MVC is the enforced structure. It forces you to separate your data and business logic, the model, from the user interface code, the view.
Why is that separation so beneficial?
It makes the code much cleaner, easier to maintain, and crucially, it allows multiple developers to work on different parts of the application at the same time without constantly conflicting. A front-end developer can work on the view while a back-end developer works on the model and controller logic.
And what kind of pre-built stuff do these frameworks give you?
Tons of time savers. Things like built-in tools for easily connecting to and querying databases, pre-written modules for handling user registration, login, password resets, all that tricky security stuff you definitely don't want to code from scratch every time.
That must save hundreds of hours.
Easily. It lets developers focus on the unique features of the application, not reinventing the wheel.
Okay, so that's accelerating the from-scratch path.
Mm-hmm.
What about accelerating development if you chose the CMS path, like WordPress?
There, you leverage the huge ecosystem that's built up around it. The main tools are plugins.
Right, little add-ons.
Exactly. Need to accept PayPal payments. There's a plugin for that. Want to add a sophisticated contact form? Plugin. Force all your pages to use secure HTTPS. There are plugins for that too. They instantly extend the core functionality.
And for the design side, beyond the basic theme.
You often use website builders. These are usually plugins themselves, things like Elementor, Astra, Beaver Builder. They give you a visual drag-and-drop interface to design your pages.
So you can build complex layouts without touching code.
Pretty much. It brings visual design capabilities to non-coders. And of course, you have templates or themes. You can use free built-in ones or buy premium, professionally designed templates from marketplaces like ThemeForest to give your site a polished look instantly.
Wow, okay. So lots of ways to speed things up on both paths. This has been a really insightful deep dive. If someone listening has stuck with us, what's the main thing they should walk away understand?
Well, hopefully, you've got a much clearer picture now of those fundamental web building blocks. HTML setting the structure, CSS defining the style, and JavaScript adding the interactivity.
The front-end trinity.
Right. And beyond that, the core strategic choice.
Yeah.
The control, performance, and unique security you can get by coding from scratch, often using an MVC framework, versus the incredible speed and ease of getting started with the CMS, but understanding you're signing up for that ecosystem of plugins, templates, and importantly, ongoing maintenance.
Okay, and as we wrap up, let's leave everyone with a final thought to chew on, building directly on that CMS trade-off. If a content management system makes it so much easier, faster, and cheaper to get a website online, lowering the barrier to entry dramatically, what's the real long-term cost of that convenience when it comes to security? If the sister you rely on has known weaknesses that are constantly being discovered and published, how does that ongoing, unavoidable task of patching and updating truly balance against the appeal of that super quick launch? It's that classic tension, isn't it? Speed versus long-term security and stability, something every website owner has to grapple with.
Indeed. A crucial consideration. Until next time.
Hey, yo, haven't you checked out our new book yet? Link in description.